Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be talking about something that is important in everyone's lives, food. More specifically, this video will be about a meal plan for busy university or college students. This meal plan is especially applicable to students who are looking for a meal plan that is easy to prepare, not too expensive, and won't disrupt their busy timetables too much. And also a meal plan that is healthy and will help keep them energized, focused, and allow them to do their best academic work. If you are one of those students, then this might be the meal plan for you. You don't have to necessarily copy the exact meal plans and every detail of it, but if this video could inspire you in any way to prepare healthy, easy, and cheap meals and help you perform at your best academically, then this video was a success. First things first, please don't skip meals. I know as a fellow university student that life can be very hectic at university, but maintaining a regular eating schedule is critical. Skipping meals will lead to fatigue, irritability, and difficulty focusing, which is everything you don't want when you're trying to excel at your studies. You need 3 proper meals a day to fuel your body and your mind, to allow you to do your best academic work. Skipping a meal in order to complete that assignment or prepare some more for that upcoming exam or something like that is very counterintuitive, because skipping that meal will cause you to be tired and worsen your cognitive functioning, which will result in worsened academic performance. So actually taking some time where you don't work on the assignment or you're not preparing for an exam or something like that and eating a proper meal will actually help you more academically. Some students, they are so busy or their schedule is so all over the place that they simply forget about eating. So they lose track of time, and before they know it, their meal time has already passed. So it's important that you become more organized, which I'll make a video about later on, and that you work your meals, your 3 meals into your schedule, and you make it a very important thing on your schedule, something that you can't miss. Eating a meal is just as important as those other things, the appointment, the tasks, the other to-dos that you have to complete. So always remember, eat well, study well. One of the best ways and most healthiest ways of starting your day is by having a good, fulfilling breakfast. I know there are some people who don't eat breakfast. They say they don't have time for it. Their mornings are too busy. They have to get to work or an appointment or things like that. And some say that it makes them nauseous to eat breakfast. They are not hungry in the mornings. Well, there's a lot of scientific evidence behind breakfast and the importance of having a breakfast. So many evidence suggests that it is actually the most important meal of the day. I do believe in that because after hours of sleeping, I am always hungry, and then eating a good, fulfilling breakfast just helps me start my day the right way. After breakfast, I have a lot more energy and I feel like I'm ready to take on the day. And I often then have the energy and will to go exercise. So I believe that breakfast is very important. So even if breakfast every morning is not the way you are living right now, I do highly suggest that you give it a try. Try to have breakfast at least every second day, or maybe try having breakfast every day for a month and see what changes take place. For breakfast, according to my easy and healthy university meal plan, I suggest oats. I know that some people think oats is boring and doesn't taste good, and that it's something you eat when you're sick. But actually, it's a really healthy breakfast. Oats are packed with carbohydrates, which will give you the long-lasting energy that you want throughout the day. And it is high in fiber, and that it has vitamins like B1 and minerals like magnesium, which are all essential for your health. Oats doesn't have to be boring or bland. It can be exciting by adding toppings. There's a wide variety of toppings that can be added to oats. Some of my favorite topics are nuts, such as raw almonds and cashews, but any kind of nuts go with oats. I also like to add fresh fruit, especially apple and bananas. And I also like to add some honey for some sweetness. Apart from being healthy and fulfilling, and you can also add a variety of toppings to make it exciting, oats is also something that is easy to prepare. There are tutorials on YouTube if you are unsure of how to cook oats, but it's really easy to prepare. You don't need that much time or cooking skills or equipment. And also it is available in most grocery stores. It is not something that is too difficult to find. And also oats is a meal that you can cook a large portion of and then store in a Tupperware container in your fridge. That is something that I like to do because I don't have time in the morning to cook fresh oats. So I instead on Sundays cook a large pot of oats and then eat it throughout the week. Because it's very easy then. You just take out the Tupperware container and you put the oats in a bowl and you heat it up in a microwave with milk. And then you have a delicious and fulfilling breakfast. But if you do have time to cook fresh oats every morning, then that is better. Also, oats can be prepared in the microwave as well. It doesn't have to be prepared on a stove in a pot. I do prefer it being cooked on the pot. I think it tastes a bit better. But you can cook it in the microwave, so you can do that in the morning. It is much faster with a microwave. You just prepare one bowl every morning, then you will have your fresh oats every morning. I usually have my breakfast quite early in the morning, so I would usually get a little bit hungry before lunchtime. So I like to have what I call a 10 a.m. snack. It's a mid-morning snack, but for me it's usually around 10. A 10 a.m. snack can be a wide variety of things, anything that you'd like. I quite like fruit as a 10 a.m. snack. So I would pack an apple that I would eat on my way to my 10 a.m. lecture. It is healthy, it has energy boosting sugars and other nutrients, and it keeps me going until lunch. But if I were to be at home, like on weekends, then I would like to have some yogurt with berries or a rice cake with avo on top or something like that. So it is okay to snack. In my opinion, I think it is okay to have a snack in between your meals. We as a society seems to think that snacking is unhealthy. It depends on what you are snacking on. If your snack, your 10 a.m. snack is something healthy, then I think it is absolutely great. It just keeps you going, keeps you focused and energized until lunch. And it also keeps you from overeating when it comes to lunchtime, like having too big of a lunch, one that leaves you feeling lazy and de-energized afterward because you ate too much. Now for lunch on campus, I highly recommend a simple lunchbox. So I recommend that you, in the mornings or maybe the night before, pack a nice lunchbox. Your lunchbox doesn't have to be too complicated. In my lunchboxes, there are always, very specifically, a tangerine, a green apple, and 2 sandwiches. I highly recommend sandwiches and fruit for lunch. Sandwiches are some of the easiest and cheapest meals to make, and you don't need any crazy cooking skills. Also, it can still be very healthy. It depends on what you put on the sandwich. You can put healthy, fresh veggies like lettuce, tomatoes, and cucumbers on it. You can add lean protein like some ham or chicken or tofu, and you can add cheese or avo. The list is never ending. You can try new combinations of things, and you can make the sandwiches exciting by making a different kind of sandwich for every lunchbox, different combination of sandwiches. Doesn't have to be the same kind of sandwich every single lunchbox. As a healthier option, I recommend you use whole grain brown bread for your sandwiches. It's a slow digesting carb that will give you the energy to keep going through the afternoon. I think that packing a lunchbox doesn't have to be expensive. ingredients such as cheese, avo, tomatoes, ham, bacon, and bread is not too expensive at your everyday grocery store. Also, packing a lunchbox and having the lunchbox with you on campus will keep you from buying something from the stores and shops on campus, which is usually very expensive, and will stop you from ordering fast food to be delivered or something like that. So I think that keeping a lunchbox is not too difficult, cheap, and will help you stay healthy. Lunch is usually around 10 to 2 p.m., depending on your schedule, of course. I would usually get a little bit hungry around 4 p.m., but that is a bit too early for dinner, which usually starts around 6 p.m. So I would usually have what I call a 4 p.m. snack. It is the snack in the afternoon that will just help you keep going until it's dinner time. This should also be a healthy snack, such as a energy bar or rice cake or a fruit smoothie, anything like that. It will really just refresh you, give you a little bit more energy so you can get the last work done of the day, tick a few more things off your to-do list, and then you will not overeat once it comes to dinner time. For dinner, you might have more time to cook a meal, so you might say that you will make something fresh and healthy. But usually when it comes to dinner time, one feels very tired after a busy day, and most of us won't have the energy and will to cook a meal from scratch. So I'd rather recommend that you try a one pot or one pan meal. So make one really big pot of food or pan of food, such as butter chicken or spaghetti bolognese, and then you store it in a Tupperware container, so then you can eat it for dinner for a few days, like from Monday until Friday. And then at the weekends, you probably will have more time to make food. And I just think that this way you can, save time, and also it will prevent you from ordering fast food to be delivered or just skipping dinner. However, if you do really wish to cook something for you for dinner, then I recommend what I like to call the Asian meal. It is inspired by the way Asian people eat. They usually don't have, like Westerns, one big plate with different portions of food on it. They would rather have the different kinds of foods in different bowls, and then they would pick from it all with their chopsticks and eat it together like that. So inspired by the way Asian people eat their meals, I recommend this setup. There is one bowl, kind of big and round bowl, that you use for carbohydrates. So think spaghetti or rice or bread or a bun, maybe noodles, potatoes, pasta, and so on and on. It can be any one of those that you want. Then there is another bowl or plate a little bit smaller than the carbohydrate bowl. This one will be used for protein or any meat or fish. So think a nice chicken breast or leg, or some meatballs or chicken schnitzel, maybe some salmon or beef mince or tuna or hake or a sausage, anything that you want. And then there is two smaller bowls or little plates. These are for vegetables. So two kinds of vegetables. It can be some cabbage, bell peppers, mushrooms, beans, some stir fry, vegetable stir fry, maybe broccoli, some carrots, some peas, some sweet corn, honestly anything that you want, and then you put whatever two you choose, such as, for example, broccoli and mushrooms. The one little plate will have the broccoli and the other plate will have the mushrooms, and then you have a full balanced meal, and it's quite fulfilling. Don't let the separate little bowls and plates fool you. It is a very fulfilling meal. So it's then very similar to a more Western type meal with one big plate, and you'll have, for example, rice and some fish and then vegetables on the side. It is a very easy way to make sure that you get enough carbohydrates and enough vegetables and you get your protein. The separate bowls also makes it okay to pair all kinds of vegetables, carbohydrates, and proteins together. It really doesn't have to go together according to the smart chefs in the world. It is anyway in separate bowls. You can eat them separately or you can put them together. And I also recommend that you eat with chopsticks. It's very easy to eat it like that, but you can of course use a knife and fork. In fact, you can put it all just on one plate if that's what you want, but I think eating it in separate bowls makes it easier to go shopping and keep track of what I need, and also make sure I have the right portions. And it is a fun and new, exciting way to eat dinner. I've always just had, the plate and the food on it, but eating like this and eating with chopsticks makes it new and exciting. And of course, this is a very healthy way to have dinner. It is also doesn't have to be too difficult to prepare. So just a simple bowl of noodles, for example, and some delicious chicken and simple vegetables is very fulfilling, and it's so good for your health. You can also make the bowls and plates very pretty bowls, or make the chopsticks very pretty chopsticks. We can make eating very exciting, and also going shopping and gathering the pretty plates, bowls, and chopsticks is very exciting. So eating doesn't have to be boring. And then, of course, there is dessert, the sweet treat. Contrary to popular belief, desserts are not always unhealthy. You can have healthy desserts such as ice cream with fresh fruits and berries and honey, or dark chocolate, which contains antioxidants. But from time to time, it is okay to eat a really unhealthy dessert because you deserve it, but let's not do that every single day. Eating dessert every single day will anyway take the fun away from it. Desserts are most delicious when you have it only now and then and not all the time, because it is meant to be something abnormal, a treat, something special. Now, back on the topic of snacking, I did mention that yes, snacking can be healthy. It depends on what you snack on. But I do know that when things get hectic and you're very stressed or bored, then you might be tempted to snack on unhealthy things such as candy, sweets, and chips. To avoid over snacking or to avoid snacking on really unhealthy things too often, I recommend that if you are lucky enough to live on your own and to have control of the groceries that enter your living space, I recommend that you have a very small amount of unhealthy snacks inside your living space, and that you keep track of how many there is and not buy too many snacks. Because if you don't have easy access to the snack, like if it's not in your house, then how can you over snack? So I'd rather go shopping every single weekend and buy just enough snacks for that week than have too many snacks and then be more likely to overeat and then feel crappy afterwards. But I know it's not that simple. Not everyone has control over the snacks or the amount of the snacks that enter their living space. So then perhaps you should just try to keep it out of your sight or out of your reach, and rather keep healthier snacks more closer and hope that you will grab that one instead. And now on the topic of drinks, hydration. Yes, this is a meal plan, but that includes what you drink, because what you eat is just as important as what you drink throughout the day. Staying hydrated is really important for your overall health, but also to perform academically well. Water should be your go-to drink throughout the day. Not enough people are drinking enough water. Most people are so busy with their days and their jam-packed schedules, or they're too busy watching videos on the internet and they lose track of time, and then there goes by hours and they haven't even had a glass of water. So I recommend that you become more aware of how many glasses of water do you drink. So easy way to do that is to use just one glass. maybe you know there can go 250 milliliters of water into the glass. So then you just drink out of that glass, and then you can keep track of, okay, but how much water did I drink? I also recommend that you maybe use an app or you use a fitness watch to keep track of how many glasses of water you've had. It was how I learned to drink water more often. I would have a glass and then add it on my watch, and then I kind of incorporated drinking water into my schedule. So there would be certain times of the day where I would drink a glass of water, or I would drink it, for example, after exercising. I would drink it before I go on an afternoon walk through the neighborhood, or I would drink it right before I start an assignment. I also recommend that right after you wake up, before you have lunch, you drink a nice glass of water. That is a good way to start, and you kind of just cleanse out your system right before you eat your first and very important meal of the day. I also recommend that close to mealtime that you also have a little bit of water. I also think it's better to drink before you have your meal than afterward. And also, there are some evidence that suggests that drinking while eating is not that healthy. So I do recommend that you don't drink anything while you eat, at least for most of your meals. I also recommend that you drink other drinks such as tea, coffee, or a fruit smoothie to give you a little energy boost to keep going throughout the day. But I highly recommend that you stay away from sugary drinks such as sodas and energy drinks. It's true, they do give you an energy boost, but eventually you will experience a crash, and that will hinder your function throughout the day. So I recommend that you rather stick to your tea, coffee, or fruit smoothie and try to stay away from sugary and energy drinks. Really, it is like drinking liquid sugar. It is not worth it. So this meal plan is mostly focused on the weekdays of the week, but it can be applicable to weekends as well. It's just most of us are at home at weekends, so it would maybe be possible for us to have more time to cook meals, and also we might go out and have meals at a restaurant. And the weekends are just a great time to shake things up. Maybe instead of having your lunchbox with your sandwiches for lunch, you make a homemade pizza. Or instead of having cooking dinner at home, you go and eat out with a friend at a wonderful restaurant and you make great memories. The weekend can also be a good time to experiment and improve your cooking skills and try a new recipe if that is what you would like to do. So I hope that this simple, easy and healthy meal plan will help you have your 3 meals regularly and improve your health and to perform academically well despite being a busy university or college student. I wouldn't be upset if you don't follow every single detail of the meal plan. I just hope that it was able to inspire you and give you some ideas, because this meal plan is something that worked for me, but everyone is different, so you might have to change it a little bit so it can fit you and your schedule. But this meal plan has worked out very well for me, and it hasn't cost me too much time or money, and has allowed me to stay fit and deliver my best academic performance. So I had to share it. I also hope that this video reminded you that eating healthy is not just about wanting to stay or become skinny. It is also about fueling your brain so you can study and so that you can go throughout your day without experiencing fatigue. If you have any meal ideas of your own or any questions about this meal plan, please leave them in the comments section below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in my next video. Until then, take care of yourself and keep striving to be the best version of you.